I'm saying is that a lot of Black America lack this knowledge, and not even just Black. A lot of just Americans just lack this knowledge when it comes to the parties. For some reason, they think for history, for the life of history, Republicans have been always against them, and Democrats have always been for them. And that's just a lack of knowledge that I feel like most people just don't know.
Well, this gets into an interesting point I like to make because of the fact that we've had the party switches and this is not disputed that
Mm-hmm.
the Republican Democrat labels aren't a really great way at looking at the through thread from slavery to the modern day. So
Mm-hmm.
I say pull back a little and look at conservative v progressive, and that is where you see a through thread. And that the fact that the parties waver, and there used to be what were called liberal Republicans, particularly Northeastern Republicans were considered more liberal, and conservative Democrats, that was down South. These things used to exist. So if you look at the through thread of, and these terms didn't exist in the form they did back then, but who were fighting to conserve the institution of slavery were the conservatives. Who was looking to progress away from it were the progressives. Who was looking to conserve the old order of only men are allowed to vote, those were the conservatives voting for that. Who was looking to progress beyond that and give women the right to vote, those were the progressives. And their party label doesn't matter as much as their ideology. And the conservative people, whatever party they were in, were always on the side of the racists and holding back progress. And the progressives, and not all Democrats are progressives even today,
Mm-hmm.
have always been for progressing to a new place in American history. That is the point that I like to make.
Okay. And let me ask you this:
Yeah.
how how much knowledge do you have about when it came to that time period when women wasn't allowed to vote?
How much knowledge do I have about it? It depends on specifically what you're talking about
Because
in
one
that.
of the
It sounds
no,
like you got something to say. So,
no, yeah, I got a little point about this. Is that
okay.
one of the things that I had when I watched a nice about a it was probably about a 2 hour long documentary about this, was that one of the myths about that time period was that women like to run on today, was that women were so oppressed and that they was just forced not to have the right to vote. It was kind of the opposite. Women didn't want the right to vote. It was only a percentage of women that wanted the right to vote. Majority of women did not want to vote because they did not want it. They didn't want the responsibilities at that time period that came with voting.
Isn't that terrible that women were taught that you're not smart enough, that you should be at home in the kitchen cooking, and
No.
that women believed it? Yes, women were oppressed not just by the law, but also by the social mores of the time, where even today, like some women are told you're not good at math or whatever it is, or women drivers, or there's all these ideas. But back then, yes, if you asked a man, can a woman vote? No, because she's too emotional. They're too emotional. They don't vote logically. They're going to vote on, they liked the color of the hat the candidate was wearing.
No,
That
that
was
was not
women
the
bought
case.
into the hype against women. I'm sure of it. I didn't see your documentary, and I don't know
Yeah.
this statistic you're throwing at me, but I do know that you can convince people that they're lesser than. You can do that as a society. You can take a demographic and tell them you're lesser than. And some of them are going to go up yours, no way, and fight against it. And some of them will go, yeah, I guess I am
It
pretty
was more.
bad.
It wasn't the reason that it wasn't for them of them not being able to vote wasn't about being them lesser than. It was more about the family at that time. It was more about a family being one. So if our family is one, then everyone should be on the same accord, and the vote is one. That was one reason. Second reason was that some of the responsibilities that came with voting, women just didn't have. Women wasn't owning, didn't own their own property. Women wasn't going to war. Women wasn't financially responsible for a family. So that was them was more of the reasons of why women didn't have and didn't want the right to vote, is because they didn't want the responsibilities of what came with it. They were happy with being the being married, taking care of the family, and being at home during that time frame. So it wasn't about being lesser than. It was just more of the way that the culture was of women of a family atmosphere, and that the family had the vote. So it wasn't like how it is today, where you have this so-called partnerships, which is crazy to me, in marriages, where the man wants to vote for Trump and a woman wants to vote for Kamala. It was none of that. It was one vote, one household. That's how it was back in the day.
And look no further than go ask any woman in America today if she's glad she has the right to vote and to own property and get a credit card, which blows my mind that it wasn't until like 1972 that a woman was allowed to get a line of credit. But and they'll tell you, yes, that these are all good things. And although I understand what you're saying, and there is something of a folksy niceness to the idea that the family voted. This is the Jordan family's vote. We vote for this candidate, and I represent my wife and all my children. There's something folksy and nice about this, but at the same time, knowing what misogyny looked like back then, that it was probably very likely that the husband didn't give a rat's ass what the wife wanted to vote for. I'm the man, I vote. Yeah,
Hey,
so they had no voice.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I said that's how it should be. I'm the man of the household. I'm the man of the household. You on my plan. We're not on your plan. I lead this.
Really?
I'm the leader of this household. I'm the leader. No, that's one of the things. I can't marry someone and we have two total ideas on, number one, politics. That's a we need to be on one accord. One accord. Now, yes, we can discuss, and I can take your and take what you think into consideration. But at the end of the day, I make the decisions. That's why God said you are the leader of the household. The man is, not the woman. This ain't no partnership.
Wow.
I'm the husband. You the wife.
Wow. I do not know what to do with this information.
The wife follows the man. The man don't follow the wife.
No. I disagree 100%. And I think I see the problem here is that you've gotten this idea from a 3,000-year-old book written by goat herders of the Bronze Age, and you are following their dictates instead of a modern dictate. Yeah, you're not going to make a lot of fans with that one. I don't even know if you'll find a girlfriend with that attitude, man. That is spoken like a single man right there.